Chino Hills versus High Point Christian Academy was one of the most iconic high school basketball matchups in 2016. Chino Hills, as we all know, was a public school from California that featured three brothers and a roster filled with hometown kids. And they had to face off against one of the top private basketball programs in the country that year. High Point was an elite private school in North Carolina for the majority of their existence, and headlining them this year was Bam Adebayo to lead them in his senior year. Suddenly, High Point had a 5-star Kentucky commit on their roster, and they were ranked as one of the best teams in the country. With the future Miami Heat star in Bam, High Point was considered a top team in the U.S. And then there was Chino Hills, a public school that had one senior on their entire roster and a 14-year-old starting shooting guard. Yeah, you heard that right. Well, that 14-year-old shooting guard was LaMelo Ball, and LaMelo, paired with his two older brothers Lonzo and LiAngelo, took the entire nation by storm. Heading into this game, Chino Hills just started to put their names on the map and make some national headlines. They were undefeated, beat some big-name programs, and their style of play was electric to watch. They came in ranked as the #1 team in the country and held an undefeated record. The story of these brothers was just about to take over the internet. But the moment in which they officially cemented themselves as the best team in the country was in this game against Bam Adebayo, which showed just how unstoppable and unbelievable this Chino Hills team really was. Chino Hills was coming off a massive hot streak headed into this game. Just a month prior, the Huskies had knocked off one of the most premier private high schools in the country in Montverde Academy, which was a crazy upset ending in a Chino Hills victory by 1 point. But now, a month later, Chino Hills is ranked #1 in the country and playing in a nationally televised game. High Point is a top-tier private school in the state of North Carolina that has a strong basketball culture, and of course they have one of the best players in the country. Perhaps they were the team that was destined to take down the mighty Chino Hills. However, this game did not exactly go as planned for the High Point Cougars. From the very beginning of the TV broadcast, you could tell that this was going to be a different sort of game. First of all, this game was played at Blake Arena in Springfield, Massachusetts in the Spalding Hoop Hall Classic. This is one of the most prestigious tournaments in the country, but you may be wondering why. Well, Springfield College is just a D3 team in Massachusetts with a below-average sized basketball gym. But the town of Springfield is called the birthplace of basketball. It's where the creator of basketball, James Naismith, developed and taught the game to the youth of the town. This made Springfield hallowed ground for the game of basketball, and the stage for this rematch between the 15-0 #1 ranked Chino Hills Huskies and the 15-3 High Point Cougars. Off the jump, you could tell that High Point had a plan for Chino Hills and the Ball brothers. They forced LaMelo to rush some deep three-pointers and got the ball inside to Bam early and often. Reese Bogan for High Point drained his first 2 threes, and after a Chino Hills turnover, High Point had stretched their lead out to 10. Now down 20-10, Chino Hills was in a situation that was uncommon for the team. But after LaMelo splashed a deep 3, this game turned upside down. Lonzo got a steal and made a ridiculous full-court pass to his little brother LaMelo while falling out of bounds. The pass hit LaMelo right in stride and led to an easy layup. At the end of the first quarter, High Point's lead had been cut to just 6. Mid-second quarter, Lonzo and LaMelo hit back-to-back threes, cutting the lead to just a couple of points. And with 2 minutes in the half, Lonzo dished to LiAngelo for another 3, putting the Huskies up by 5. Chino Hills had flipped the script in the second quarter, but only led 43-39. High Point was still very much in this game, but this was not the case for long. LiAngelo caught fire, burying 7 threes and scoring 29 points on the night. It was clear that Chino Hills was just too athletic for High Point. LaMelo was constantly running down the court, and Lonzo would drop a full-court dime right in his hands for an easy layup. The pace that Chino Hills played with became too much for the Cougars. The lead was greater than 20 by the end of the third quarter, and the Huskies didn't let up in the fourth. They were able to get to 100 points, continuing to push the pace all the way to the end, and by the final buzzer, Chino Hills came away victorious, 100-75. The Ball brothers absolutely showed out. LaMelo finished with 21 points and 3 assists. LiAngelo put up 29, 7, and 5. Lonzo put on a show, posting a triple-double with 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 18 assists. The natural chemistry that the brothers had was the main reason that they were so great in this game and throughout the remainder of the season. Every single time there was a missed shot, LaMelo ran down the court and Lonzo would lob it down to him. This continued to work even though High Point tried to adjust. Whether it was an open LaMelo 3 or a cutting LiAngelo layup, Lonzo was constantly able to get his brothers and his other teammates open. Chino Hills also managed to shut down Bam Adebayo as much as they could. Bam had 13 points and 18 rebounds, but failed to ever be in control of the game. Chino Hills also played a fast-paced defense, forcing opponents to play faster than they were comfortable with. And they threw a lot of double teams, especially when Bam had the ball. Onyeka Okongwu also played a big role in this game. He scored 14 points and snagged 10 rebounds, but most importantly played phenomenal defense on the older and bigger Bam Adebayo. He finished the game with 5 blocks and with more points than Bam. It was this performance that finally put him on the map, eventually landing him a scholarship to USC. This game was yet another opportunity for the Ball brothers to play on national television, only strengthening their fame and popularity. As he displayed in this game, Lonzo was the best player on the team in 2016 and proved he was one of the best in the nation. He was the floor general and leader of this team, paving his way to greatness at UCLA. LaMelo showed his ridiculous potential as a fearless 5'9", 14-year-old kid with a remarkable future ahead of him. LiAngelo was the leading scorer of the entire team, playing physical offense and being an elite shooter, dropping 30 on a routine basis. And center Onyeka Okongwu was a vacuum in the paint and a dominant force on the inside as a 15-year-old, ready for his future days at USC. Eli Scott was the glue that put the whole puzzle together and made all the winning plays similar to what Draymond does for the Golden State Warriors and what Josh Hart has done for the Knicks every given night. A complete hustle guy who knows and plays his role at a high level. He also quietly had a phenomenal game, scoring 17 points and grabbing 13 rebounds. This victory in the Hoop Hall Classic was only the beginning for Chino Hills. After humbling Bam Adebayo and the rest of High Point, they entered California Conference play and would dominate pretty much every team they faced, most famously their 50-point blowout of California's top prep school, Mater Dei. They went on to finish the season 36-0, winning the state championship in California and putting themselves in the running for the best high school team of all time. Lonzo Ball dominated the college basketball world at UCLA and gave us some instant classic showdowns, especially against De'Aaron Fox and Kentucky. He went on to be drafted second overall by the LA Lakers and showed all the flashes in the world. Unfortunately, injuries plagued him for the last couple of seasons, but now he's getting consistent playing time again for the Bulls, showing the world that Zoe still has what it takes. Hopefully Lonzo can get back to that borderline all-star level that he found during his first years in Chicago. LaMelo has become a superstar right before our eyes. He was drafted third overall by the Charlotte Hornets in 2020 and has been the face of the franchise ever since. He was the fourth youngest player in NBA history to become an all-star, only behind Magic, Kobe, and LeBron, currently averaging 28 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds a game, and is a walking highlight reel every time he steps on the floor. LaMelo consistently makes the NBA court look like a high school gym. He plays with the same youthful creativity that made him an internet sensation back in high school, which has made him one of the most fun NBA players to watch night in and night out. Onyeka Okongwu dominated at USC and was drafted 6th overall by the Atlanta Hawks in the 2020 draft. He's carved out a big role for the Hawks and is having his best season yet, averaging 11 points and 8 boards a game. Yes, you heard us correctly. They had 3 NBA lottery picks picked in the top 10, all from the same town on the same high school team. Eli Scott had the least hype of the 5, but went on to play 5 seasons at Loyola Marymount and had a great college career. LiAngelo never quite saw his high school success transfer to college and the pros after he was suspended by UCLA. He had a couple of G League appearances and has blown up in an unexpected way as a rapper, even performing his hit song Tweaker at NBA All-Star Weekend. He just dropped his second single, Can You Please, and already has features from rappers like Lil Wayne and Glorilla. So there you have it, the story of the night Chino Hills humbled Bam Adebayo. A rematch that took place in the birthplace of basketball that went from a competitive first half to a track meet blowout for Chino Hills in the second. But what are your thoughts? Do you think 2016 Chino Hills is the best high school basketball team of all time? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more basketball videos. We'll see you in the next one.